21 people were killed in a head-on collision between a tour bus and a cash and transit van in Limpopo last night. The crash took place on the N1 highway in the Louis Trichardt area. Manqoba Mchunu brings us the latest from outside a hospital in Limpopo. Manqoba, can you tell us the latest developments, the news to have come from investigations following this horrific crash that claimed so many lives last night?
Well, only what we know at this stage is that this accident happened on the N1 freeway in the north direction of the N1 freeway, and it happened around about 5 o'clock in the afternoon yesterday. And what we know so far, and is that this bus had been traveling to the Nzerere area in the Vembe district when it collided head-on with a cash-in-transit vehicle. We understand that this particular accident happened as a result of the cash-in-transit vehicle that had been trying to overtake another vehicle on that stretch of road. It then veered off the road and collided with this bus, and ultimately causing the bus to also veer off the road and roll over onto a river that was just on the side of the road. So it went over the bridge into the river stream that was below that particular bridge, and we understand only that 16 people had been found near the river that had died at the time, and 3 of them were found on the roadside. So in total there were 19 people that died on the scene. We understand 2 of them died at the hospitals when they were transported to the various hospitals. But earlier on we also understand that police divers had to be roped in to also scour the river aside, just to ensure that there were no survivors, or there were no bodies that were trapped or that were washed away by the river during that accident. But what we also understand, Ali, is that earlier on the MEC of transport here in the province, Florence Rachilanga, actually visited some of the hospitals just to assess the situation and also to speak to some of the survivors. And from those reports we understand only that there are 10 people that sustained serious injuries, and there are 16 of them that had moderate injuries, and about 30 of them that had minor injuries. We understand those people, the 30, have since been discharged from the various hospitals. But of course investigations are now continuing only as to the real cause and what exactly happened that led to this accident. But according to preliminary investigations, it does show that that cash in transit vehicle had been trying to overtake when it then collided head-on with that bus. But we also understand only that the president has also sent condolences to the families of those who lost loved ones. He says that he's deeply saddened by this incident, and saying that, you know, his prayers are also with the families of those who lost loved ones. Of course, the investigations at this stage are still continuing only as to the real cause of the investigation. But we also understand that the Deputy Minister of Transport will be visiting some of these families, those of the deceased as well as the survivors, just to also try and make sense of really what happened in that accident.
Manqoba, the reports continually refer to a tour bus. Can you tell us a little bit more about the bus, where it was heading, what type of passengers were on this bus? A tour bus is generally filled with tourists. Do you have any more information for us around that?
What we do know, Ali, is that this bus had been traveling from Makhado, and of course from some of the reports that we're hearing, Ali, is that some of the people that were actually inside this bus were people that were excuse me, coming from work, Ali. Excuse me for that. People that had been traveling from Makhado from work at the time, and they were heading home. And we understand, Andy, that some of them had just knocked off work at the time, and they had been heading to their various homes. So the details that we're getting, Andy, is that this was a bus that was ferrying passengers and people that had been leaving the Makhado area. People who work in the Makhado area had been heading to their homes at the time. So those are the details we have at this particular moment. But of course, we are still going to get more details as as soon as we speak to some of the officials. But what we understand at this point, and is that this was a bus that was headed for several areas in the Vembe district. It was areas, I think, which included Elim, which included Sawalem, as well as Nzerere, which is the area that is towards the Musina from Mukado. So those are the details that we have at this particular point. Of course, we will get more details as the investigation unfolds. That investigation is underway by the police, as well as the Roads Traffic Management Corporation, looking into the real cause of what happened in this fatal incident.
Manqoba, can you tell us anything about the driver of the cash and transit van and whether that company has commented?
Well, at this stage, what we do know, Andy, is that the driver unfortunately lost his life. He did not survive that crash. He had died on the scene. But what we also know is that the driver of the bus had survived that incident. In fact, we're told that he is among the first 3 people that had exited the bus, that had also gone to try and assist those that were still trapped under the bus. Many of those that died, of course, in this accident were trapped, we understand, under that bus. But as far as the company is concerned, we haven't heard from the company, Andy, but we can confirm, in fact, that the driver had lost his life in that incident, along with 21 others who also perished in this accident.
Well, thank you very much. Manqoba Mchunu coming to us from Limpopo, bringing us news of that accident. We'll continue to follow developments as they happen.